Who's the host of this?
I'm the host.
Do I have any?
Cat.
So
Omer, how do you not know that it's Cat?
What?
How do you not know that it's Jonathan?
hello.
What? It's Cap. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I said that.
We're
Yeah,
not
obviously he's-
disagreeing.
Okay, yeah. No, I asked how you didn't know that. Should be obvious.
He is our glorious leader. What are you talking about here? That's like the Soviets had Stalin, Robotics has Cap.
Hail Cat.
Do we know if anyone else is being added to the room right now?
Omer. Hail Cat.
Who was the last person that joined this room?
We got Oran.
You do have me.
All right, we'll wait 1 minute and we're gonna start.
Is this just going to be based off our design from this year?
No, we're gonna start like from the beginning of Fusion, how to use it and how to do the.
No, I meant, are you going to base their design?
We might later do things based off that design, but right now we're just gonna start with basics and like commands in Fusion.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to learn this for next year.
Okay.
You know.
So we'll
Like,
start
I
now.
downloaded it. I'm opening it right now, but like I haven't actually used it ever.
You don't need to open it. Okay, I'm gonna mute everyone and then we'll start.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So this is Fusion 360. I hope everyone can see the screen. So Fusion 360 is a computer-aided design application. So what that means is you use it to design, you download and create parts and arrange them in Fusion to build you can build an entire robot that way. So me and Omer are gonna go through the basic commands in Fusion, starting from creating a new file and how to use basic commands. So when you go into Fusion, if you go to File, New Design, it brings you up a new blank page that looks like this. On the left over here, you have the file structure, which once you start adding stuff, you'll see each component that we add will come up on the side here. And then over here, you can change the view that you're looking at. It always starts from the top front right-hand corner, looking like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over creating a sketch and creating a basic body. So to create a sketch, you press that button over there, Create Sketch, and then you have to select the plane that you want to create it on. So we're going to select the top plane like that. And if you look over here, you'll see it now shows that we're looking at it from the top. So now we have options over here to draw either lines, a rectangle, or a circle. And then if we click Create, there's more options for different types of shapes you can draw. But for now, we're going to start just with drawing a rectangle. So this is a 2-point rectangle. So you put the first corner, and then you have the option to type in the dimensions, and then you click Enter, and now you have a sketch. And if you look in the file browser here, you can see that it's titled Sketch 1 and it's visible. So you could highlight that and rename it. And then you could toggle the visibility of the sketch. So then this is now a 2D sketch, but we want to make it 3D. So if you click Finish Sketch, you could then select the sketch and press the E button on the keyboard, and that lets you extrude it. So then you could choose to extrude it by a certain, however much you want it, and that adds the third dimension of the height. So now if you look at it from where we started over here, you could see that we have a cube. And if you look now in
You can also
body,
press Q if you feel like it.
yeah. And now if you look over here, we also have some it's called a body, and it's in the body folder, and the sketch is turned off automatically. You could turn it back on if you want, but you don't need it anymore because you have a cube. And then you can also draw, if you do another sketch, you could draw a circle of a certain radius. You type in the radius, and for a triangle, you would use the line tools to create some sort of triangle, whatever triangle you want. So that's how you draw basic shapes in Fusion 360. And then if you wanted to add, let's say, a smaller square on top of the one, or a circle on top of the square you already have, you would start a sketch on, and then instead of clicking one of the yellow boxes, you would click on top of the object, and you would select a circle and draw the circle to whatever radius you wanted. And then when you extrude it, instead of, and you could pull it up like that using the arrow. And then if you look over here, the operation, you have the choice between joining or cutting, new body, or new component. So new body would make it a new body. Join makes it part of this body. So you still have one body, and if you select it, the body, it's the whole thing together, and it would 3D print them as one piece. Then if you decide you want to make like a, like a thing in the middle so you could see through, you could draw on, on this side, you could put in a rectangle or any shape you want. And then when you extrude it, you could go through that way. And if you see it's red, the operation is changed to cut, which you can change by yourself if you don't want to. And then if you look from the side, you can see through it now. And there's a hole in the middle. And the last command for drawing basic sketches is if you press H, and you can select the face, and you could change it. That creates a hole. So in the settings menu that pops up, you could change the depth, the angle, and the radius. This is useful if you're designing a part and you need to put in holes for screws. They're not threaded. There's tapped holes, non-tapped holes, and you choose what you want. So this would be a 5/16 inch, so that's what we use in FTC. And then you would have a tapped hole on top to put a screw into. So that's it. Now Omer is gonna go over how we join and split bodies in Fusion and construction planes. Wait, 1 minute. Before we do that, does anyone have any questions?
That's a good one. I have a question.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be teaching though?
It's a teaching question. Hear me out, Banner. What if you want to make a hole, but you only want to go through go to the end of the object? You want to like put in a random number. How do you make sure you only hit the end of the object?
Like,
yes.
You know the depth of the object?
Yes.
So there's this button here called Inspect, and for that you could click 2 points, and it'll give you the distance over here. It'll tell you that they're 1 inch apart, and you can do that for any 2 points on the thing. You could select them, and it'll tell you the distance between the two of them. That way, if you're planning on building something, you can see the exact distance.
That was a very beautiful question, Omer. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. Alternatively, when you're in the hole function, you can click to the side. You can click to a plane of which you want to cut the hole to. So there's other ways to do it.
All right. Does anyone else have questions on basic sketching and building bodies? Okay, so Omer, you can start your thing.
How do I get to my screen?
Just click share your screen, or I'll stop sharing.
And just get rid of
You're not
that.
muted anymore.
Dear Ashendorf, requesting remote control of your shared content. All right.
No.
No. All right, 1 second. Ask for it. All right, so I'm just gonna make a square and make a cube, rectangle, and then I'm gonna extrude it, clicking Q, go some 20. But let's say I want to cut in half, right? So there's a splitting function. How do I get this to work? Let's see. It's so weird. So we're gonna make a construction line. I don't get how teachers use this.
Omer.
Chat, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, 1 second. I can't see myself, and I don't get how teachers do this. Great. So let's get rid of this one. And there we go. So I made my cube. Yeah,
Can you see Fusion?
I can see Fusion, but
So just do it on Fusion.
all right, great.
You could see it on Zoom.
I'm just gonna make a new file and go with that.
Yeah, that works.
Great. So I wanna be able to see my origin. Draw some nice square. Extrude it up.
If you notice, Omer is using centimeters and I was using inches. And after Omer's done with this, he'll show you how you could change that in the document. So, depending on what part you're working with, you may need to be in inches or centimeters.
So let's say I want to cut this diagonally. So I can go to construction plane through 2 edges. And I'll go with this one and that one. So then I just made a plane. So now if I wanted to, I can draw on this plane, but I can also use this plane to cut. So I'm going to go to Modify, Split Body. I'm going to body to split. I'm going to click our cube. And for the splaying tool, I'm going to click my plane. And OK. And then you see how on top there's a line. And then you have 2 separate bodies. So you click M for move. And then just drag it away. And that's how you split a body. That good, Cap?
Yeah, now do you want to go through combining them again?
Combining them. I'm going to split this body again just for the fun of it, and then combine that. So I'm going to go to construction plane. Again, let's go with mid plane this time. Let's go with that. That's not how it works. Let's go with offset plane. From here, I'm going to go inside about -10. Okay. Then we do the same thing I did last time. Split body, this body, splitting tools over there. Click OK. And I'm going to move this one. Then now it's split. Move this one back. And this time I'm going to use move point by point because I want to get exactly there. So I'm going to go from origin from that corner to there. And OK. And now we have them 2 touching. And to get them back together, we're going to go modify, combine, click our 2 bodies, and OK. And now we have 1 body. Nope, no, we don't have one.
When you go to the bodies menu, it'll be 2 bodies, 1 body.
Bodies menu. Then we have that's 1 body, and then we have that's a separate body. That was the weirdest thing I've ever done. All right, Cap, back to you.
Does anyone have any questions on the moving, either the free mover, the point-to-point, or the combining or splitting bodies?
I just have a question in general. Is this what you use before you make the robots?
Yeah, the goal of this program is for next year designing the robots in 360 before they're built. That way you have a better idea of sizing.
You do that this year?
It's going to go together.
What's the goal for next year?
Does anyone else have any questions?
Jonathan. Goal for
Yeah. Sorry?
Does anyone else have a question?
Yeah.
You're Jonathan.
Go ask your question.
So, what's it called? Is there like a copy and paste function?
Yes.
Omer, do you want to show?
Really easy. You're going to go click on it. Click on the body. Now let's go with the other body. Go to my home view so I can see it better. Select all. Nope.
Right
Here's
click.
the way. There should just be like a simple copy and paste, but I haven't used this in a month. There we go, copy. And then there should be a paste somewhere.
Just do Command V, Control V. And now move
Let's
it.
move this down a bit. And then we get another one.
And just click OK.
Yeah, but the people are hiding it. There we go.
So yeah.
There we go. You can get 2 of them.
Any other questions?
Wait, wouldn't it be easier to just click it, and then click move, and then create copy than what you did?
That's pretty much the same thing Omer did, just in a different step order. In Fusion, oftentimes there's multiple ways to achieve the same result using different commands. So you could do whatever way you feel comfortable with. Is there any other questions on this section? Okay, so now we're gonna Omer, do you want to show them how to change the units?
Change the units. That's a great question. How do you change the units?
In document settings.
Document settings. Let you do it because I do not remember how to do it.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, so I'm gonna wait.
Left menu bar.
No, I stopped his sharing. All right, so I'm gonna start by showing you how you can download CAD files for parts you may want. So this is the part we use in FTC to hold the servos in place. So if you go on the Tetrix website to the page for that part, which is Tetrix is the company that makes the part, if you scroll down, almost every robotics website has an option to download the CAD file. So you could download it and save it to, and it'll save to your downloads. And then if you open up Fusion, so I'm gonna stop sharing and then open up Fusion again.
Eitan, your background is really distracting.
All right, so now now in Fusion, if you go to, this menu bar is going away.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you go to File and Open, and open from my computer, and then Downloads, it comes up as a step file. And so you can open it, and then you could save it by doing just Command S or Control S, however you normally save a file, and giving it a name. So I'll name this servo mount, and the part comes up into there. So now I'll start again a new design, and I'll save the design. That's the first thing you want to do when you start working on a project, and it'll come up in this folder over here. And then once it's saved, I've already imported some parts previously from the FTC part library.
Some parts.
What?
A bit more than some parts.
Just one folder. There's a lot of folders. There's a lot of parts. And you click, so you find the part that you want, and you click Insert into Current Design.
It sometimes it takes a while because the files are up.
So then, if you see this, this is how it would look from the top. So I want to flip it 90 degrees, and then click OK. And now I have this part imported. And now if I go back to the folder where I just added the servo mount, I could also insert that into the current design. And then I could use the point-to-point move by clicking that button. And I could select that I want to line that hole up there with that hole right there. And then it'll perfectly line everything up.
Can I interrupt real quick? Are you going to mention how it's important to know where on that point, if you're on the surface versus the underlying surface?
Yeah.
So as you can see, the way you selected those points.
If you see it right now, it obviously aligned, it put it inside the other metal piece, which isn't how you do it. So what you want to do, you want to click the servo mount on the side menu, and then press M, and then from there, you're able to, you can move it up, and then you could do a point-to-point move from the bottom of the circle to the top of that circle, which is then the proper orientation for the part.
Fantastic.
Eitan has a question, so 1 minute. Eitan, what's your question?
Can you do the original point-to-point move? You didn't really. I didn't get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, I could do
Like
it one more time.
Eitan, the original one he did, moved it, and then he showed you the same point-to-point move technique to correct his.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same feature, point-to-point.
Got
You
it.
select the point. We were just trying to impress upon you that it's important the surface that you select, because when you toggle over a point, sometimes it doesn't distinguish between two surfaces. You have to go to another view to select the top surface versus the bottom surface.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's everything we wanted to cover today. One important thing to note, if you download a part, I think this is more applicable to VEX, and then you decide you want to edit the part, cut it in half to replicate how you're going to cut a part with a saw, it's a good idea to copy the part and then to copy the part to a new file. That way you don't lose the original whole file. That way you can use the part again and again. Because you could import the servo mount to the design again and put it somewhere else in the design. Does anyone have any questions on anything we did today? Does anyone have questions on what we did today on anything?
I think that's it, Kat.
Oh wait, should I show to change the units? You go to document settings, units, and then you could change the unit to something else. So
You usually want to be in millimeter.
or inches. It depends on what you're working on. For FTC, there's an inch. Some things are in inches. Some things are in centimeters or millimeters. So it depends on the build system you're working with when you're designing it. But
Is it always going to be either inches or centimeters, or?
you can be in whatever is best for you to work on, depending on what build system you're working with. But it's just important that you communicate what units you're using to everyone else. Okay, it looks like we're going to be sent back to the main session now. So everyone can rejoin the main session. And I think we might have another one next week.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever done. That was so uncomfortable.
Okay.
I couldn't see other people because like I X'd out like the pictures of everyone else.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to open that back up. So I'm like, am I just talking to myself or not? I'm like, I was so confused.
Yeah, it all made sense until the screen sharing started. But it's
It
fine.
was so disorienting.
I
How do
think
teachers do this?
they have a way to see the people and see their screen at once.